Hi all, welcome back to the first social media club of Kansas City event since COVID. We will be keeping most of our events virtual for now until we can find another partner to host as a venue. But we're glad to have you all here. It's pretty exciting. Please excuse any bumps and hiccups along the way since it is our first virtual event. I have no doubt that there might be a couple, but if you all don't remember me, my name is Lauren Vaughn. I'm the president here at Social Media Club and have been since 2018. We've got a new board, which you will all be receiving some information on too. But I mean, a whole new bunch of people. We've got a new events team, new people in communications, membership advocacy, vice president, all sorts of new people that are here to help out and bring this club back together and hopefully back in person as soon as possible. So be looking in your inbox for some information on that too. We are also partnering again with Digital Summit of Kansas City. They will be hosting their event in person. So they have sent out a few emails, but we'll also include information on that when we've got our next email going out. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have some information on that. And then as usual, be tweeting, engaging using hashtag SMCKC. If you have questions for Julie as we're getting started, please use the Q&A and we will get to those probably at the end. She might try to address a few along the way, but we're hoping to hit everything at the end. Let me think. Oh, we will not be doing open announcements since obviously we cannot do open announcements currently. But if you have anything that you do want to eventually get out to the club, our Facebook group is a wonderful place to do that as well. That if you want something to hit bigger, feel free to reach out to me directly at presidentsmckc.com. And then for anyone who is new and this is your first event or you're new to Social Media Club or just kind of want to get back in touch with the group, reach out to our membership team. That's membership@smckc.com. And with that, I will go ahead and introduce Julie. So for those of you who don't know, Julie Cortés is a freelance rock star by night, but copywriter by day. She breathes, teaches, speaks, and coaches all things freelance and has been running her own business for over 20 plus years as the founder of Freelance Exchange of KC. It's a professional organization for advertising, marketing freelancers, and has created a much needed college level course, Freelancing 101, for the world renowned KC Art Institute, if you're familiar with that, where she also teaches as an adjunct professor. She's won dozens of awards over the years for her work, leadership, volunteerism, and community involvement. And she's regularly sought out for media interviews, coaching, and speaking engagements. Julie is very passionate about helping to succeed in all things loving life. So we're really lucky to have her today. And with that, I will pass it over to Julie.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, you all. Let me get in here and share my screen. Ooh, host, can you please enable screen sharing? That would be awesome. All right, here we go. All right, all hands on deck. So today we are going to talk about how to rock a freelance business. Here we are coming out of a pandemic. Hopefully we are coming out of a pandemic soon. And maybe you're here because you lost your job, or maybe you realized the benefits of working from home during the pandemic. And now you're thinking or wondering, I want to freelance. Or maybe you already are freelancing, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so, or maybe coming out. And so you're wondering how you can move forward and how to rock your freelance business. So you want to freelance in a pandemic and your friends might be looking at you like, hello, are you crazy? You want to be self-employed with no guaranteed paycheck, no health insurance, no benefits in an unpredictable time. So your friends and family may be saying that, but me personally, do I think you're crazy? No, honestly, I think you are brilliant. And being here today is your first step. I want to take a step back and look at the United States workforce just to kind of give you guys a perspective of what was going on already. In 2019, experts were saying that we were already at 30% of the United States workforce was self-employed, full-time or part-time in some capacity already. Now, this isn't just us advertising, marketing, social media freelancers. It's the gig economy. It is Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, hairstylists, what have you. Okay, 30% of the population was already freelancing in some capacity in 2019. By 2020, we were expected to hit 40%. such a huge jump over 1 year. We were expected to hit 40%, and then we were supposed to hit 50% by 2027. 50% of the United States workforce would be in the gig economy, be freelancing full-time or part-time in some capacity by 2027. And then, as we all know, COVID hit, right? And I have a feeling we are going to hit that 50% number much sooner than anyone expected. Why? Because freelancing is freaking awesome, you guys. It is. But really, more people turn to freelancing during the pandemic out of necessity, right? More people realize the benefits of working from home and not having that commute. So if you can figure out how to do it and how to be successful, why not? And besides, if you do it now instead of in 2027, you're going to be well ahead of the game. You're going to be primed for what's to come. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Julie Cortés, copywriter by day, freelance rockstar by night. I have run my own copywriting business for 23 years now. This is where you say, but Julie, you look like you're 12. Thank you. Thank you very much. But early on in my freelancing career, I noticed this void in education, in community, and even self-respect for the self-employed. And apparently, I made it my personal mission to go out and rectify that. In 2003, I created an organization called the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City. You may be familiar with it. We are similar to the Social Media Club in that we are a not-for-profit professional trade organization, but we specifically cater to those who are self-employed in advertising and marketing. We will talk way more about this later, so stay tuned for more on that. But because of that, and because I've been doing that for over 18 years, now I live, breathe, teach, speak, and coach on all things freelancing. I did create my own course, Freelancing 101, and have been teaching at the Kansas City Art Institute as an adjunct professor for over 5 years now. Never in a million years did I ever picture myself as a professor, like in education, teaching a business class at an art school. Like all of these things are just blowing my mind, but I absolutely love it. And when I started teaching, I had this light bulb moment because so many of my professional peers were coming to me and they're like, Julie, your class sounds amazing. I want to take your class. I'm like, that's awesome. You got to enroll. You got to go back to school. You can't just come sit in on my class. Sorry, that's not how it works. And of course, no one at this stage in the game, or very few, really want to go back to school. I was like, all right, Cortés, light bulb moment. People need this education. Why don't you open up a coaching arm to your business? And so I did. And for the past couple of years, I've been able to share those same lessons with my professional peers in the local industry and even national now. And going on, I just, because I'm the founder, because I started this course and everything, and today I'm now being asked to speak on stages locally, nationally, even internationally. And I'm so thrilled to be at a point where I can share my message near and wide, far. Donna asks, is Freelancing 101 available for anyone? It's geared more towards artists or anyone in the freelance specialty. The class at the Art Institute is available for anybody who is enrolled at the school. There are both commercial artists and fine artists. Donna, I know you've got my contact information. You know how to get in touch with me. So follow up later. I'll get you some more information, or for anybody else too who's interested. So what are we going to talk about today? As promised, we are going to talk about how to get started as a freelancer. We are going to talk about how to find clients. We are going to talk about how to build a killer portfolio. And also, last but not least, and probably the most important, is how to embrace an entrepreneurial, or as I like to say, solopreneurial mindset. So I want to take a deep breath here and let's just everybody think to themselves, what does the term freelancer mean to you? Because it's got a whole bunch of different connotations depending on who you are. But if you look it up online, it essentially means you don't work for one company, you work for several. It's one who traditionally works for themselves, charges by the hour, by the project, by the day, instead of working for a traditional job or for a traditional salary. Now, there are 101 probably different names or terms for the word freelancer. All right. You could be a solopreneur. You could be a contractor. You could be a consultant. You could be a digital nomad. I'm sure you have heard of some of these, if not more than what I have here listed on the screen. The best thing about it is that it's all the same thing. You are your own boss. And no matter what you call it, for the sake of this presentation, let's just all agree it is what it is. So if I say freelancer, but you call yourself a consultant, you're going to get the same benefits out of this. We all have the same pros, we have the same cons, we have the same benefits, etc. But something I find really interesting when I look out and look at my counterparts on the ad agency side or the corporate side, like, I don't think people really understand what all goes into it. Like, what it takes to be a freelancer, because you are more than just your craft. And I call this the O factor, because you wear a lot of hats as a freelancer. You are the CEO, CFO, CMO, COO, and any other O you can think of. You're the account exec, the researcher, the accountant, whatever. You wear a lot of hats. You do so much more than your counterparts on the other side, because you're not just doing your craft. I'm not just doing copywriting. I'm running a business. But here's the problem that most of us face when we get out on our own. Show of hands. Oh, wait, I can't see you, but raise your hand. How many of you went to school just to study your craft? How many of you went to school and got a degree in journalism or graphic design or social media or communications, what have you, and didn't take business classes because either they weren't required or you didn't think that you would ever need them? I see this all the time. People get out on their own, they leave their jobs in the corporate setting or agency setting, whether by choice or by default, and end up out on their own, and they don't know what to do. You could be the most talented person in the world. You could be winning best of show at all the big award shows. But if you don't know how to run a business, you're just simply not going to get ahead. And this is an issue. You've got to know how to run a business and how to do it well. So that's what we're going to talk about today. First up, I'm going to ask you, or I guess tell you, what does it take to run a business and run a business well? Sorry, I got some, there we go. If you want to design a life that you love, if you want to freelance and enjoy all the perks that freelancing, that it comes with it, you have to be self-disciplined. You have to be motivated. You have to be determined. You have to have that drive, that hustle, that persistence. It is not for everyone. And here's a huge secret. I didn't think it was for me. When I first started out on my own, I'm like, oh man, I really need somebody looking over my shoulder and telling me what to do and when and where and why. I'll tell you one thing though, money is a huge motivating factor. If you know you've got to pay the bills, guess what you're going to do? You're going to start hustling. So I found my motivation. I got determined and I became persistent. I sat down, I wrote a marketing plan, I wrote a business plan, I set goals and off I went. And you can do that too. Now, of course, it takes clients and consistent work to succeed as a freelancer. Now, we will talk about how to find that later on in the presentation. But you have to know, how do you find that? How do you keep clients around so they keep coming back to you over and over again, so you don't have to constantly be turning over clients or work? And what do you do when there's no paid work? That's a big question. And again, we'll address that later. You definitely have to have a strong brand and the ability and willingness to promote yourself, to put yourself out there. If people don't know who you are or what you do, you're really doing yourself and your business a disservice. And if that's not something you're good at, by all means, outsource it, but you have to be willing to do that. Okay. Now, probably the most important thing that I see as being lacking in the Freelance Exchange is education and know-how. All right. Like I mentioned, so many of us went to school before and didn't take business classes. So we get out, we don't really know what we don't know. So I encourage you, when starting out on this journey, to be humble and recognize that you don't know it all. You may be the best social media manager out there. You may be the best graphic designer out there. That's awesome. But you may not know how to run a business. So go out and obtain that knowledge and be a constant student of education. I'm still learning things, and I'm 23 years into my freelance career. To this day, I'm still learning things. And of course, things change over time too. So be humble, go obtain that knowledge, get out there and learn what common business practices are, what industry standards are, what legal issues might arise, and how you can protect yourself. You have to know how to price yourself well, how to price yourself competitively. You have to know what to put in a contract. You have to know what you can and cannot write off on your taxes. Taxes is scary, I know. You need to know what you need to keep track of for your taxes. You need to know what to do about health insurance. You may consider how to write a business plan and a marketing plan. You need to know which promotional strategies work best and for you. There are so many things that you need to know as a freelancer that go beyond just your craft. So again, get into the frame of mind that you don't know it all, because I promise you, you don't. And go and soak up as much education as possible. Now, you might be asking me, Julia, where can I find this information? There's a ton of great resources out there, whether you want to read a book or go to a professional organization, go participate in some online groups or forums. You can go to conferences, webinars, summits. You can get coaching. Or there's a ton of great local resources here in Kansas City, like Kansas City SourceLink or SCORE, or of course, even the Freelance Exchange you can go to and get that education that will help you along your way. Now, I always say to people that I am nowhere I thought I'd be, yet everywhere I am supposed to be. If you would have asked me when I was in school what I envisioned myself doing throughout my career, I thought I was going to be some hotshot creative director in Chicago on Michigan Avenue, working on some amazing Super Bowl ads. That was the dream. And I went to Chicago my senior year of college, and I interviewed at all the top shops that were there at the time. And I got offered an internship at one of the big names for $4.25 an hour. Do you think I could afford to move to Chicago on $4.25 an hour? No. Besides, I had already had 2 excellent internships. I wanted to start working. I wanted to hit the ground running. And I stayed in Kansas City for family, for my now ex-husband. And life just happened. All right. But I have managed to find my joy, to find my passion, and to create a career that I love. And you can too. If you find your niche, if you find your passion, if you accept opportunities as they come, you too can design a life that you love. I see a question. I think somebody got their hand raised. Amy, is that you? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. We're going to keep going then. All right. So most often, the thing that's overlooked when it comes to getting educated about freelancing is the whole mindset part of it. And people don't talk about that a lot, but it really takes the right mindset to get ahead, to truly get ahead. It's the part that gives you confidence to do what's best for you. So let's take an opportunity to talk about motivation and strategy, because nobody's going to motivate you and provide strategy for you, but you, when you're self-employed, right? All right. So here's some motivation tips for you. Number 1, whatever you do, set office hours for yourself. I don't care if it's 8 to 5, 9 to 5, noon to 6, whatever works best for you. Set office hours for yourself, and then ensure that you are working those hours. I know you set your own hours. I know you have flexibility, but do you want to get ahead? Then take advantage of that time. All right. That means even when there is no paid work coming in the door to do, you're still working. You may not be getting paid for it, but you're still working. There is always something to do. Working on your taxes, working on new business development, doing self-promotion, cleaning up your office. If you need help finding something to do, come to me. I will give you a laundry list of things to do. There's always something you can be doing. All right. You need to either be working on your business or in your business during those hours. Working on your business is all those things that I just mentioned, the self-promotion, the new business development, what have you. Maybe it's creating packages for your products or your services. Okay. Working in your business is actually doing the stuff that gets you paid, the stuff that's billable. Okay. When you set those office hours, you can also then in turn share them with your clients, share them with your family and friends. These are the hours that I'm going to be working. So clients, if you're expecting to get a hold of me or expect a response, here are the hours that they are. All right, family and friends, please leave me alone during those hours and I'll get to you later. That's the next important part, is minimalizing distractions. When you work from home, and I know now so many of you can relate with me since you've been forced into it through the pandemic, you have to learn how to minimize distractions. For example, if you don't live alone and you have a spouse, a partner, a roommate, children, pets, what have you, they can all easily become distractions. So what can you do? You can shut your door. You can put a note on the door. Please leave me alone, right? Do not disturb, whatever it says. You can start creating boundaries. What about chores or errands that are constantly looking at you, nagging at you, like, hey, Julie, you've got a big load of laundry ready to go. Why not do it? You're home. Yes, I have the flexibility to do it, but no, I need to focus right now. I will get to my laundry after hours or on the weekend. Okay. So you train yourself and then you train everybody else who you live with, right? Your spouse, your roommate, your kids, what have you. They all need to learn to leave you alone during that time, not to expect that those chores get done or those errands get run. But what else do you have that can distract you during the day? There's social media, ding, ding, ding. How often are you sitting there working and all of a sudden you see a notification come up and you're like, ooh, shiny thing. I got to go look at that now. Guilty, totally guilty of that, right? Turn it off. If necessary, there are programs that you can install on your computer that will block social media during certain hours. They're very handy, I might say. Turn off your phone, right? Well, have it maybe so it only allows emergency calls from certain numbers, right? Or texts from certain numbers during those hours. You've got to learn how to focus because nobody else is going to be looking over your shoulder, making sure that you are working either on your business or in your business during those hours. Same thing goes for TV, podcasts, games, whatever it is that your vice is, right? Yes, again, you have a flexible schedule as a freelancer. And yes, that is one of the joys of freelancing is you have the ability to go do that stuff when you want. But I'm telling you right here, right now, if you want to get ahead, you will not be focusing on your games, on your TV, on your Netflix, whatever it is you do, you'll be focusing on your business and making sure you are in your office working on your business during those hours. There's another tip for you. Have dedicated office space. If you have an extra room that you can set up as an office, by all means, please do. If you need to carve out a niche in your basement, in your dining room, what have you, make sure you have some sort of dedicated office space because this tells your brain it's time to go to work. All right, someplace where you can sit up. Again, yes, you have the flexibility to work wherever you want. You could be lounging on the couch. You could be lounging from bed. Will you be the most productive there? Chances are you won't. Okay, so get in the habit of going to your office and sitting upright at a desk where you can be the most productive possible. Now, that said, y'all are going to look at me like either I'm nuts or I'm brilliant on this next one. But I must say, if you get dressed for work, then it tells your mind it's time to go to work and you will be more productive. Now, I know so many of you who were forced home during the pandemic and all of a sudden you had this great awakening. Oh, I can work in yoga pants or sweatpants or nothing at all, right? Absolutely, you can. And it is comfortable, absolutely. But if you want to get ahead, if you want to be the most productive as possible, get dressed for work. Now, I'm not saying put on a suit and tie or a blazer every single day, but be ready to go. Because not only will it affect your productivity level, but what happens if somebody calls and says, hey, Julie, I've got a rush project. Can you be down here in half an hour? Maybe it's downtown and I live like half an hour out. Am I dressed? Am I showered? Am I ready to go? Is my makeup on? Is my hair done? I better be ready to go. And of course, nowadays, it may not even be that I have to commute anywhere, but they want me on a Zoom call like that. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I don't have to worry about going to fix my hair or anything. I'm ready to go. Turn on the camera. Let's go. Okay. So Try it, see if it works for you. It may or may not, but I'm hoping it does. For me, it gives me a huge energy boost, right? It helps me focus. And don't forget shoes. Again, I know you probably think I'm nuts, but there is so much psychology that goes behind this. Put on shoes. Again, it will tell your body it's not time to lounge, it's not time to relax, it's time to go to work. Okay, got it? All right. One other thing that you can do is to get out of the house once a day, or your apartment, whatever, wherever it is you're working, get out once a day. Whether that means going for a walk around the block, taking your dog out, or if you're comfortable now, going out and heck, you can go to the post office, you can go to the office supply store, the art supply store, what have you. You can meet people for coffee, for lunch, for drinks. Get out of the house once a day. Again, that will help you be dressed and ready to go no matter what comes, but it will also help you deal with that isolation that comes with the territory of working from home. You're actually interacting with society, okay? And again, this all helps the mindset and helping you be the most productive you can be. So act like you're going to a job, dress like you're going to a job. You know, if your office hours are, let's say 9 to 5 instead of 8 to 5, okay, great. So make sure you get down to your office by 9 a.m. You can have coffee in tow, that's great, okay? But keep that structure, keep this routine, keep that regularity to keep you going, right? And keep you motivated, keep you productive. Now, something else that you may consider moving forward with a freelance business is to create company policies and procedures. But you can't just like create them, you actually have to stick to them. For example, those office hours that I mentioned before, you get to determine when you'll work. That's amazing. You also get to tell your clients when you won't work. You don't work on weekends? Great, tell them that. Okay, but stick to it. And if they expect you to work over the weekends, well, guess what? There's a thing called a rush fee that you can charge if somebody wants you to work during your personal time. We'll talk about that later. You get to determine how much you'll charge. Pricing is a whole nother conversation for another time, but you get to determine how much you'll charge and ensure that it's competitive with others in your industry in your same geographic location. You get to decide how you'll charge. Will you bill hourly? Will you bill by the project, by the campaign, by the day, on retainer? You get to determine all this, but figure it out ahead of time. All right. You also get to decide when you'll bill. Will you ask for a deposit up front? Yes, I'm telling you right now, yes, you will. You might consider milestone billing. Some people do this like where they get a third down up front when the contract is signed, a third when the concept is approved, and then a third when the project is complete. That's called milestone billing. You may bill on a monthly basis. You may just bill when everything is done. You may bill for everything up front. You get to decide all of that, which is amazing. There's a lot of power in being your own boss and getting to determine all of these policies. That also means you get to decide when payment is due. Now, industry standard, best practices all dictate that payment is traditionally due within 30 days of the client receiving your invoice. Some people will scoot that back and say, I want to be paid within 15 days. Let's say some people will go 45 days. Whatever it is, you get to decide that. Just ensure you communicate it with your clients. This also means you get to decide or create a policy as to what happens if your payment isn't received on time or at all. Will you charge a late fee? How often will you follow up and how? Will you turn things over to your attorney? Will you go to collections? Will you go to small claims court? Like you want to figure all of this stuff out ahead of time because I want to warn you, most clients are great, but not everybody is. And so you want to be prepared for those people who like to take advantage of the self-employed. And so have those processes and those policies in place ahead of time so you know how you're going to react and it's not a huge shock. And also with the contract, you'll be protected up front. You'll also get to decide what fees are acceptable and how much you'll charge. I mentioned a rush fee earlier. Personally, my policy on rush fees is I charge rush for anything that's same day, overnight, over a weekend, or over a holiday, period. You could do time and a half if you're billing hourly. You could do double if you're billing by the project. Again, you get to decide all of this. You can charge late fees. Standard industry practice is 1.5% every 30 days. Yep, that's it. 1.5% every 30 days is how much you can charge as a late fee. That's 1.5% of your total invoice. And not every client will pay it. That's when you can decide whether or not you want to work with them again. I always laugh when clients come to me and they're like, well, I don't like your late fee. And I'm like, well, I don't like you being late. So problem solved, don't be late, right? Hello. It's not that hard. But you can charge cancellation fees. You can charge referral fees, or what I like to call a PITA fee, right? Pain in the ass fee. Don't put my name next to that, but it's done. An aggravation fee, right? Oh, did I estimate that this project was going to be 8 to 10 hours? It only took me 8, but you're a real pain in the ass. So I'm going to charge you 9. It happens again, right? Have policies in place. I'll tell you one thing that happened to me several years ago. I had everything in writing, right? Estimate, the contract, everything was in writing. I'd been doing work for this company. It was a jewelry company out of LA. And I was working with a fellow freelancer, a designer here, and their marketing director was here in Kansas City. And we were working with them. It was a startup. We were working with them for months and things were going swimmingly well until they stopped paying their bills. And yet they expected us to just keep working. 1 month comes and goes and they don't pay. 2 months come and go and they don't pay. 3 months, now they're 3 months late. So I finally sent an email to my client. I was like, hey, I'm sure it's just, the invoices have just gotten lost on the accounting side, but I've got to let you know at this stage in the game, I need to stop working until we get caught up. Oh my gosh, you guys. She picked up the phone and she calls me and she's yelling at me like I'm her own teenage daughter. She was so loud, calling me every name in the book. I had to have the phone, can you see me? Have the phone out to hear. It was so loud. And then she made me laugh because she called me immature and unprofessional. And so maybe I'm a smart ass. I brought the phone back in. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. You're yelling at me, calling me every name in the book. And I'm the one who's immature and unprofessional. And she's like, yes. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, carry on. And I let her finish. Knowing also during that time, I'm billing for every minute that she's going on and on and on. Finally, she calms down. I bring the phone back in. I was like, okay, listen, this is in my contract. It's on my estimates, on my invoices. Like, this should not be a surprise. That payment is due within 30 days. And she's like, well, what do we do now? And I was like, well, I'm going to be the professional here and I am going to finish out this month's work, but then I think we're going to have to call it a day. So I fired her. All right. No amount of money, no consistent work is worth being verbally abused like that at all. You shouldn't have to accept it. And especially if you have maintained professionalism and you have everything in writing and it's common business practices, it's industry standards, right? You shouldn't have to deal with anything like that. So have your policies in place, have your procedures in place. I feel comfortable walking away knowing that I handled that with the utmost professionalism. I did not burn a bridge, she did. All right. So you want to appear as professional as possible. You want to be as professional as possible. So keep in mind that your freelance business needs to be treated like a business, not like a hobby. And that means you've got to go all in. And that includes creating these policies and abiding by these procedures. Okay, deep breaths, Jules. Let's go on and let's move on to portfolio development. What goes into a killer portfolio? You really want to be thoughtful about what you put into it. Choose only your strongest pieces because that's what's going to sell you. Now, if you were to ask me how many pieces go in a portfolio, I would tell you anywhere from 10 to 20, with 15 being the sweet spot. Right, that's it. Okay, people have short attention spans, so keep it short. 10 to 20, 20 is the max. Try, if you will, to have a variety of pieces that you show. Of course, depending upon what it is that you do. If you work generically in advertising and marketing, you may show one magazine ad, you may show a video that you did, you may show an entire campaign. Okay. Try and show a variety of things, show a variety of mediums, a variety of different industries that you've worked on. Show those one-off pieces, show the full campaign so they know that you know how to flesh things out. All right. But again, show your best work. And I would say too, as you're trying to put things in order in your portfolio, whether it's a digital portfolio or a physical portfolio, prioritize things. So of course you want your very best piece as number one. Now, bear with me. Your second best piece, very last. You want to close strong and leave them with a lasting impression. Then your third best piece, come back to the middle. Okay, did you follow that? First, second, third. And then fill in the gaps in the middle if you can. All right. Try and show things not only that you've done, not only that you like, not only that you've won an award on or gotten great feedback on or had great results on, but show the work that you want to be doing. Like, I'm not going to put a piece of medical writing in my book because that's not the kind of stuff I want to do. Early on, I would do those kind of projects because they paid the bills. But did I enjoy them? Am I the best person to be writing medical stuff? No, right? So I don't even show them in my book anymore. Show what you want to be doing, all right? But remember that people are visual creatures. So you want to show images wherever possible. Like, I know some copywriters who are showing in their portfolio just a Word document, the document that they turned in to their client. Don't do that. Add some visuals to it. If at all possible, if you can get your work in its completed form, show that. Okay, so if I wrote a website, I'm not going to show the Word document of it. I'm going to go and take screenshots of the website. I'm going to have a link that goes to the live website. But whatever you do, have images. People are very creative, are very visual creatures. And I'll tell you, I noticed this more often than not. The Freelance Exchange holds a trade show in the fall called the Portfolio Showcase. And I cannot tell you how often people will come up to me and they'll look at my book, they'll flip through it, and like really quickly, they're not reading the words and they're like, oh, your work is so good. And I'm like, that's great. Have you read a word of it? Because I'm a writer. I'm not a designer. I'm not a photographer. I'm not an illustrator. Did you read any of it? Because that's what I do. And of course, there's signs all over my booth, copywriter, right? With my big logo and everything. People are visual creatures. So they still think I'm a great writer. Hey, great, here's my card. It's the most bizarre phenomenon, but it works. So remember that. Have great, stunning visuals in your portfolio. Now, people will ask me, do I still need a physical portfolio or can I just do a digital portfolio nowadays? That is an excellent question. And there is no one right answer for everybody. It really depends on your niche and it depends on your application. Should you have a digital portfolio? 100%, absolutely. Even if you're not like a so-called creative type, like maybe you're a web developer or a media buyer or something, you could still have something visually appealing. You could have case studies, you could have testimonials, you could show analytics, but again, make them visually appealing. All right. But it really depends. Are you just going to be showing things online? Would you be at a trade show like I was just describing, where I tell you what, even if I have a laptop here, nobody is going to go searching through it. They want the physical pieces that they can just go. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, great. So I see a couple of comments or questions in the chat. Let me get to those afterwards here because I've got a few more things I want to touch on before we wrap things up. So hopefully now you are motivated. Hopefully now you understand what it takes to have a killer portfolio. So what's up next? Now you need people to hire you, right? Yeah. Okay, Julie, how do I find clients? Oops, I went one too far. All right. So let me put this disclaimer out there that you always need to be looking for new business. Even if you feel like you are so overwhelmed, no matter how busy you are, even if a client has you working, let's say 35, 40 hours a week, don't rely on that one client. Never, ever, ever put all your eggs in one basket. I knew a guy who did this many years ago where he had this amazing contract job for Sprint. Remember Sprint? For his T-Mobile? He had this amazing 40-hour-a-week contract job. He didn't need to worry about other clients. He was sitting pretty, raking in the dough. That's awesome. And then guess what? Like Sprint does, they laid off a bunch of people. Or Sprint did. They laid off a bunch of people. He lost his contract gig and he had no other client work to rely on. And guess who had to go get a full-time job because he wasn't prepared? If you find it yourself in that situation where a client wants you to work all of those hours, that's fantastic. See if you can find some sort of sweet spot. See if you can find a way to negotiate with them where you're only working maybe 30 or 35 hours with them so you can have time to cater to your other clients and also be working on new business development. All right. Okay. So where do you find work? That's a great question. You could go to these online platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Behance. Well, no, Behance is a portfolio thing, but you could go to these platforms. I don't personally recommend them. Some people swear by them. Oh, Julie, I made my first six-figure salary on those platforms. Really? That's fantastic. Show me your ways. But for most people, from what I'm hearing, both here locally in Kansas City and nationally, is that it's a waste of time. It's a platform that completely devalues the profession. Clients are only looking for the best price. All right. I know when I first looked into this many years ago, that I found myself competing with other copywriters from overseas who were charging $8 an hour. Now, I can't afford to only charge $8 an hour. I can't afford to compete with that, nor do I want to, because that really devalues our profession. Our work has value, and we want to find the people who respect our work, who value our profession. Okay. So personally, I choose to go and find my own clients. If you want to try those platforms, by all means, do it. And let me know how it works out for you. You could, of course, look to social media for opportunities. I can't tell you how many groups I'm in, let's say on Facebook or on LinkedIn, where people are constantly looking for freelance talent. Hey, anybody know a good graphic designer? Anybody know a social media strategist? Okay, be the first one to respond and have a killer portfolio to show them. You could do that. You could use a headhunter or a recruiter. Maybe you've heard of locally, we've got here the Creative Circle, we've got Land a Job, we've got the Spencer Group, we've got Morgan Hunter. These companies not only are full-time placement companies, but many of them also get freelance jobs in the door, freelance projects that they want to place. Right now, they're going to take a cut of your salary or of your hourly rate, whatever the case may be, but they can still help you find work, especially when you're first starting out. And the best part is their employer paid. Okay, you don't have to pay them anything for using them to find you work. You could get really smart about things, and you could build a powerful sales funnel and implement the tactics that go into it, moving a prospective client from attraction all the way down to where they buy from you. All right, you probably ought to. You could do your own branding, advertising, marketing, and social media. That can certainly get you ahead. I am a big proponent of that. Okay, easy things that you can do to get the word out about you. You could do PR, you could enter award shows, you could speak, teach, you could write blogs, you could exhibit in trade shows, and so much more. You could participate in networking and volunteering. My business was built on networking and volunteering. Why? Because people like to work with those whom they know, like, and trust. But not only do they like to work with them, they like to refer them. So you need to be known. How are people going to know who you are if you're just sitting at home and not meeting people? It's this amazing phenomenon that happens when people know who you are, whether they've seen your portfolio or not. You still get referred because they know who you are, they like you, and they trust you. You could also rely on referrals or social proof, such as testimonials, reviews, what have you. Or, y'all already saw my next slide, you could tap into the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City. Now, I was asked to share what this is today, so please don't see this as a sales pitch, but just know that we are here to assist you if and when you need it. The Freelance Exchange of Kansas City is for anybody who's self-employed in advertising and marketing, or in the communications field. You could be solo, you could have a partner, you could have a partner and an intern. We allow up to 3 people as part of your membership in the Freelance Exchange. We have all of this, the stuff that we offer, not only for freelancers, but our other target audience is the people who are looking for talent. So the agencies, the design shops, the businesses, they can all come to the Freelance Exchange and find this easy to use free resource to find the talent that they need. All right. We offer continuing education. We offer networking, mentorship, social and promotional opportunities. We have luncheon programs, coffee meetups, happy hours. We're still doing all of this online. We haven't skipped a beat since the pandemic hit. And then in the fall, I mentioned we do this annual portfolio showcase, which is a great opportunity to get your work out in front of the people who are looking for people like you, but also gives them an opportunity to meet you as well, because a lot of times it's the relationship building that helps you score that client. Let's see what else. We have promotional opportunities available. So if you're a member, you get a portfolio space on our website where you can have your logo, your headshot. You can have a link to your website, link to your LinkedIn profile. You can have a bio, a resume. You can have, I think it's up to 25 samples on our website. It's a really great opportunity to easily be found. And I got to tell you guys, we have a lot of traffic on our website. People come to us quite a bit. You could also be part of our members only group on Facebook, where you would see these job and project opportunities come in the door. We refer one another quite a bit. We form virtual agencies quite a bit. It's pretty awesome. So if you want more information, whether you're looking for a freelancer or you want support as a freelancer, go check out fxofkc.com, or you can find us on social media. Yay, social media club, at fxofkc on all the main platforms. Okay, cool. So moving forward, I want you to be bold. If possible, prep before going freelance. I want you to get educated and go learn what it is you don't know. Save up money ahead of time, get a part-time job if necessary to help combat that feast or famine income cycle. Have a killer portfolio, constantly be seeking out new business, show off your work, have a strong brand, promote yourself, and always, always treat your business like a business, not like a hobby. Next, I want you to be brave. I want you to establish those business policies and procedures and stick to them. Get comfortable saying no, because quite honestly, people will walk all over you if you let them. Don't let them. You're not a doormat. Don't let them walk all over you. And for whatever reason, people like to do that to the self-employed because they think we don't know what we're doing. So go figure out what you're doing. Trust your gut. If it feels wrong, it probably is. So have a game plan in place. Don't let clients take advantage of you and walk away if necessary. Know your rights, know your industry standards, stand up for yourself, be brave and stand up for yourself. And last but not least, I want you to be badass. Remember that mindset is everything. You need to get motivated and stay motivated. Find a community, get support, surround yourself with smart people, with professional organizations that can help you, who can offer support, guidance, and even help you get over imposter syndrome, which I know so many of us face. I want you to be prepared. I want you to gain the confidence you need to rock your own freelance business. If you like what you've heard here today, I want to invite you to, I have a group on Facebook that I just do on the side for fun. It's the Freelance Rockstars. And here, let me put the link in the chat, or you could just go to Facebook and type in Freelance Rockstars. We have a ton of fun in there. There's camaraderie with like-minded folks. You've got your tips and tricks. You can get your questions answered in a safe and encouraging space, and it doesn't cost a dime, no strings attached, and so much more. So if you are interested, if you are thinking about freelancing, or if you even currently freelance on the side, by all means, come join us. I would love to have you. Thank you so much for having me today. Please, please, please keep in touch. You can learn more about me at juliecortez.com. And of course, follow me on social media at KC Copy Diva. And if there's anything I can do to help you on your journey, please let me know. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to switch over to questions here.
Yes, thank you, Julie. That was really great. Yeah, and let's see if we have questions and how many.
Yeah, let me see what we got here. Miscellaneous fees. Yeah, light bulb moment. I get it. Lauren says, as someone in social media marketing who does social editing, how do I show work related to copywriting when I've been mostly doing copy editing and social over 4 years? I want to get back to copywriting, but I want to offer social media marketing, copywriting, and editing as well. The editing part is hard. The proofreading part is hard because I offer that as well. You really can't show that unless you show like a marked up document, which I guess you could. I would think testimonials and referrals would do you some good there. Now, if you want to get into copywriting and you don't currently have any clients, go create a portfolio, do spec work, just find ads maybe that you see out there that you don't like and you rewrite them and get them designed so they look nice to put in your portfolio. Hopefully that helps. Janella, hi Janella. I literally got an email for a logo job yesterday. Yes, from the Freelance Exchange. And I referred you the other day too. See how this works? Referrals are amazing. That's great. Thank you, Amy. Caroline. Oh, hi, Diane. Thank you all so much. Anybody else have any other questions? Please drop them in the chat. Oh, you got the job. Good. Yes, that's awesome. That was a big client too. You're welcome. Alrighty, well, you all know how to follow up with me. Thank you so much for coming. I am so excited to be here and to help bring Social Media Club of Kansas City back to life. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for attending, and I'm going to send it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. Really appreciate it. I know if you guys are sitting with us, we planned to have this in last May, and it only took a year and 1 month to finally have the event with Julie, but we're really glad we did. So like I said, be on the lookout for an email regarding information about Digital Summit and our partnership with them and the new board. And then we do have another event coming up. We haven't got on the schedule, but it will be on diversity and inclusion in your marketing. So we will send all that information out via email and post it on our social platforms. So thank you so much for attending, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good one.